Another week here, the Devil's Bit podcast. Myself, Rory, Ray, and Glen. What's the crack, lads?
Ray's on mute there. Ray's muted.
Ray is on mute. That's my fault, Ray. You were talking some bollocks there before we jumped on, so I had to mute you.
It's getting into the zone there. You did that on purpose.
We did, yeah. But how are you doing, lads? Another week.
Oh, no, it's not a hangover, to be honest with you, boys. A bad one. I went out with Mitch and all last night.
Was that last night? Glen, I think that was Friday.
No, it was last night when I was there. It was mad night. Mad night it was. I was looking forward to a football there. I'll be winning Grangers on the Malahide Road.
Yeah.
Stop, man. Madness.
So look, you're getting old now. That's what happens. The hangovers last longer.
Yeah.
But boys, now flip-flopping around, so we cut the small talk, as I always say, and get straight into it. Today was United Southampton away. We got a draw, still on that run. No. But we just want to get your opinions on what you thought of the game. What you think, first of all, maybe of the lineup. It's a few changes there from last week. What do you think about it?
Yeah. I just thought it was a bit strange when they had changing a winning team. Okay, McTominay was supposed to be slightly injured and only have a half an hour in him to play. Just thought it was a bit mad, but then you understand that you need some sort of aerial threat in defence. But I think it was more to do with him dropping in deep and trying to get the wing backs forward. It's just he just never really got going. It's disappointing, isn't it? And I knew, like, from the hype and from the win against Leeds, it was all gravy. But I knew deep down that we sort of have their number, or we can get up for that sort of game. But this particular game here, the low block, the typical sort of, can we break down the low block again, we were just not intelligent enough in our runs, or I think the accuracy of our passing, there's a lot of stuff that let us down today. I thought, it can't. I don't think
bringing it back, I suppose, Ray, to the team selection there. Like, so we brought in Varane and Sancho there. Like you mentioned McTominay, but I'm looking at the new names. Maybe like Varane's a World Cup winner. Like, surely he's fit enough to come in and play a game straight away in the Premier League. See what he got. Doesn't even come on, given the scoreline. Maybe if we're 3 or 4 up, he might have got a show. Glen, so what do you think? Because I know you actually mentioned that earlier on in the chat, the WhatsApp, during the games. What do you reckon is going on there?
Yeah, I thought it would have been hard to change the team, Rory. I think it would have been hard on Lindelof if you left him out after the performance of Lindelof and the whole team against Leeds last week. But at the same time, you're thinking to yourself, today was the real test. I agree with Ray and what Ray was saying, that you'd probably, I don't want to say you'd expect us to beat Leeds 5-1, but you would expect us to create a lot of chances against them, considering the way they play it. So this week was the test for us, and I don't think we passed it really. You look at the way we started off. Look, I mean, for me, I'm saying, right, there's 2 changes. McTominay was forced. So all he said at the beginning, if he's, there's only a half an hour in him. Well, I'm thinking to myself and saying, there's only a half an hour in him, then surely you should be looking to bring on someone else, the likes of Donny or something, do you know what I mean? Or a Mata type player when you're chasing the game. We're not even chasing, just pushing on to go and try and win it. I look at the changes, and he brings in Martial and pushes Greenwood out to the right. I was thinking, why not just lay Greenwood up top and push Sancho out onto the right hand side and start Sancho? I think it would have been perfect for him to start. I don't know why we're holding him up, but I just don't think our play overall warranted the win, to be honest with you. And I think the build-up play was way too slow. Even when we were doing well in parts of the game, I still thought it was too slow. Like, you know what I mean? Building out from the back. I think Matic and Fred, they just didn't make the movements in the middle. And then when Fred did make their movements to try and save the ball, Maguire or Lindelof never, seen it, or just didn't want to give him the ball.
Yeah. And then you mentioned Sancho there, Glen, so I'll just push it on Varane for that one. What do you reckon?
Varane, I think, should he have started? I think it would have been hard on Lindelof, I do. But they're the decisions that Ollie's paid to make. I'm just thinking now, we've Wolves next week. then there's an international break. So surely Varane has to come in then. If he doesn't come in before then you're looking at him being a United player for what? What 3 or 4 weeks and not starting the game. Like, do you know what I mean? I was listening to
one thing I think about that. Sorry, Glenn, to cut across you there, but no, you'll get me for that later. Watch.
No, we definitely will. Yeah, I don't hold that against you.
One thing I think about Ollie is you said it's a hard decision, and I think Ollie has a trouble making those hard decisions against players that are in the team. So if you look at even Fran there, thanks Fran for tuning in and commenting there, he's saying Van der Beek situation. And I was looking at the Van der Beek situation over the summer and I was thinking, you know, Ollie has a plan here. Van der Beek's, he's in training, he's building up, you know, his stamina, his muscle mass, you know what I mean? He's going to be a stronger player. He doesn't get a look in. You know what I mean? Matic is getting a look in.
Yeah, that's a hard one to take. That's a real hard one to take if you're Donny sitting on the bench, especially after the work that he supposedly put in during pre-season and everything and not making it to the Euros. But I mean, there's only so much you can say about that. I think we've covered all that about Donny, to be honest. You know what I mean? I feel for him. I feel for him. But I don't know what else he has to do. I don't know what he's doing in training. But
where's his position? What position does he play? What? Do you know what I mean? You talk about him playing deep, but he can get caught on the ball.
That's an interesting comment there, boys, isn't it? But yeah, Mick, Fernand wouldn't have made a difference. It wasn't the defence that caused the result. I wouldn't say it was a defence, but if you look at Lindelof and Maguire today, I don't think they covered themselves in glory. I don't think Maguire did either.
I think Maguire got caught on the he got caught on the ball a couple of times, Maguire, but I thought Lindelof played okay. But like, how are you going to manage the situation? Are you going to be able to say to Varane, listen, you're battling for your spot here. You know, you're up against Lindelof. This was a perfect game, I thought, for him to come in.
He's captain of Sweden.
There you go. But we're talking about Varane, like, you know, we said it so many times. He's won everything. Yeah. You know, okay, if there's a fitness issue there that we don't know of, then that's fair enough, you know what I mean? Or maybe he's protected for his first game. You know, if you're looking at Southampton, they have a little bit about them up front where like they two strikers that really complement each other with pace and then a lot of muscle from Che Adams. So I thought, yeah, maybe you can, you know, use a bit of experience and start Lindelof this time around. But I think if we're looking at games from last season, Wolves is a game that Lindelof struggled in. You know, there's the physicality.
Last season, Ray, this is a game that we struggled in today. I mean, you said it. This was the test today. Can we go against?
We bet them last season, though. You know, we bet them last season with better players in the team. It was just the same old.
We struggled the same. We were 2-0 down. We were 2-0 down. We were at half time against Southampton last season. I just feel like these are the games that you need to be going to win. These are the games that caught us last year. It wasn't the big games. It was these games. And we didn't. As you said, we didn't pass that test today. We really didn't.
But there's one thing you both said there. It was last year, and last year we were talking a lot. Well, last season we were talking a lot about why Fred and McTominay are sitting in there, and the reason was to protect the back two because we felt they were a bit weak. Maguire and Lindelof as a pair were a bit weak. So Mick might say Varane wouldn't have made a difference, and I would slightly disagree with that because my point on getting Varane is so that we can free up those two CDMs. So maybe you have McTominay in there or Fred, and then you have someone else like Lingard or Van der Beek, and we want to focus so much on defending all the time because you have a strong pair there. So that's something we talked about last year. I don't know if your opinions have changed, lads, have they? Or how do you feel about that?
I just don't think we should be playing two defensive midfielders. I don't know why we're doing that.
But that's what I'm saying. Is that because Lindelof is in there and him and Maguire as a pair aren't strong enough?
I mean, if you can play two defensive midfielders, but one has the clearance to go forward, then that's great, man. If you can pull that off, that's very effective, I think. And if you have two defensive midfielders in there, you know, when you're playing against the likes of PSG or someone that we seen, you know, proved to our advantage last season where we, you know, nullified the wings with Fred cutting out that space and McTominay the other side. And we did a job on most teams, most of the big teams, just like that with Fred and McTominay. But who's the player to come in when you want to play with one single one single hold in defence. Who's that player that's in? I think in that position you need a rounded player that can do everything on the pitch, that can defend and score just as well as a striker. We do not have that player yet. That's why you can say that. Yeah, that's all we can do at the moment. That player's not on our radar. It doesn't even seem like.
Yeah.
What
So we have
about
a problem
Martial
there.
top boys? What about Martial coming in up top? What about that?
Martial scored during the week in the friendly. I think it's the same issue we have, right? Sorry, cutting across you. Is that Ollie is afraid? Ollie is afraid to make those big decisions. He's invested in a few of these players, like Lindelof, like Fred.
Yeah, but
Martial.
We was taking out that number 9 position there today. Greenwood was great last week.
Yeah, he's on form. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make
sense. It doesn't make sense. And you're looking at Sancho coming on there, and I don't know if it was probably just me, but I got the vibe like, I know what I'm doing, Ollie. You know what I mean? I should have started him when he's talking to him. He's like, don't worry, mate. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Don't be playing up for the cameras and all coming up beside me, because I'm 90 million.
He has to be saying doing that, right? So another thing that got me there, boys, was after. I suppose let's go through the goals then. So
whose WhatsApp? Sorry, boys. Sorry, whose WhatsApp is on there? Knock our WhatsApp off there, will you, boys?
Yeah, mine's off. I think that's Rory, man.
Is it? Glen called me out. I knew he'd call me out on something. See, there you go.
Like, even I just thought, man, today getting the ball forward, our wing backs, it was like it was getting caught in our feet a lot, and it was sloppy, and we were pushing the ball into tight spaces, and then just putting it into a space that we think there's someone there. Maybe Martial should have been there at times, Glenn. Just to go back to your point, I watched a bit of the Chelsea game. I was looking at Lukaku, and my God, there's levels between them two at the moment. At the moment, I'll say that because we know what Lukaku can do, and he can drop off just as quick as he can rise. But you watch him today in that Arsenal game, and he was pinning the defense up against him and just rolling the ball past. And I agree with that lazy fucker. Yeah, he is. I felt like that, man.
That's a beaut, that is. Yeah, that's a crack.
Yeah, like the ball was on the bench. It was like a 50-50 every time the ball was around Martial. And I felt he just pulled out of it a little bit, waiting on oncoming plays rather than making it his and all. It was a bit frustrating, to be honest. But it's his first game back. We all have high hopes for Martial. There's loads of fans in I'd say even in the chat as well that appreciate him and his ability. It's just that attitude, man. It's just make that position yours. Like Cavani's a few games away. He's not always going to play. Rashford's out. It's perfect, and he didn't take it.
I know what you're saying, but it's still to take Greenwood and move him out of position. You know what I mean? Like, I thought, like, after Leeds, we were going to turn around and say, right, Cavani is a couple of weeks away or whatever, so there you go, Mason. Go and do your job. Show us what you can do. You know what I mean? Like, have you got it in you to lead the line for us? On last week, you would say, yeah, this would have been a different game because he would have been the night space. We would have been the night space in behind. You know what I mean? When he came short to play the players in. But we didn't see if he was capable of it because he played Martial. And I'm not taking a dig at Martial or anything, but it's more like, why didn't we just stick with what worked last week? And we didn't do it. I don't know whether Ollie was trying to be too clever or what, but it didn't work.
Yeah, and there was that friendly during the week, which obviously doesn't count, but Martial was in that, and then Lingard was in there as well. So if you're thinking, maybe that influenced his team, then why wasn't Lingard starting? You know what I mean? Lingard had a good game or whatever. But lads, just on that one, so Mason Greenwood has now scored 8 out of the last 10 Premier League games. So that shows you the run of form he's on. I haven't got the statistic to hand for Martial, but I tell you, it's nowhere near that. Like, you know what I mean?
The post, bro. That's what you do. You know what I mean? 8 goals in 10 Premier League games. He needs to be between the posts. That's what we were missing today. You know what I mean? Like, so put him in there.
And we saw Glen when Sancho came on, and he was in between the posts. He got that header just over the bar.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that was a good chance as well. Like,
we thought he probably should have got under that a bit more. I think we'll get to the goals and the chances. I just want to talk about that Southampton goal. So just before we saw there was maybe a little foul on Fernandez is up for debate, in my opinion, if it was a free kick or not. Personally, I think you get away with not giving that as a free kick.
Yeah, I don't think it was a free either. Honestly, you can see him looking to the side there, waiting on it. And it was, side on really. It wasn't in the back, it wasn't in the front. He was gone before he even, it was a little bit of a push in that, but it was a strong old school tackle. And if you're waiting on it, the referee wasn't fooled in that situation. I don't think.
I think Bruno was trying to be too cocky and too arrogant there in that situation. You know what I mean? He wanted to slow the ball down and try and hold Stevenson off. And in fairness, Stevenson was up for it because a while before that, Bruno went down. Or it was Mason Greenwood that went down, I think, holding his face. The referee then called it over. And you seen Stevenson going over to Bruno and giving him loads because Bruno was moaning and groaning over him. And I think, Stevenson went in and was just looking at taking any shit off this player. And I think you have to be a little bit stronger in that situation. Now, Bruno should know you don't try and hold the ball up or play in them areas. Do you know what I mean? Like, you should have been a little bit smart. I just think it was an arrogance on Bruno's part and he got caught. But then, the stuff then in between that should have been sorted out as well.
A lot of stuff like that, Glen. There was. That's what was frustrating. Pogba getting caught, even though he had a decent game outside the box a lot. Maguire getting caught. For that chance that, if it wasn't for the hair, we could have lost that game.
Yeah.
And it was the arrogance, man. We played with an arrogance and no intensity. I mean, if you have the arrogance to feel like you're top of the league and take that forward, then play with the intensity that the game needed to be played at. It was sloppy, man. It was like we were Charlie. It was Charlie stuff today. It was we're Manchester United and we put 5 past Leeds and we're at the top of the league instead of just, making the pitch wide as possible when we had the ball and not letting Southampton's defence smother us in the middle all the time. And when we were out on the wings and left backs and right backs, get the ball out of your feet. Even Luke Shaw a couple of times today was like, that's second too late of getting the ball back into the midfielders or pushing it up the wing. And it's just all around dirt.
Yeah. Well, I think it's lazy. I think you saw a lot of that.
The goal, though, lads, after Stevenson wins the ball off Bruno, look what happens in between that. Like, do you know what I mean? Man Evans comes in, puts Maguire down on his knee. When you look at that, it's like Maguire was, doing the Black Lives Matter salute, like, by going. When you actually look at the picture, his knee is down on the ground, like, do you know what I mean? Then Fred comes across, sticks a lazy leg out and all. I think that's what we need to be looking at as well. Like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't good enough. That was Maguire sort of going back to what we're seeing in the early part of last season or the first half of last season, I'd say, where, he was sort of not at it. Like, do you know what I mean? You need your defenders in that situation to be dominant. Like, you know what I mean? If he stands on his feet and doesn't dive in, the outcome could have been a little bit different.
Yeah, but I think it comes back to if Fred had to put in a proper tackle. Glenn, we've seen this last year so many times with Fred, and that lazy last effort not to put in that tackle that causes serious issues like goals, especially against Roma, I think was the big one we pointed out last year. And to be honest, I know you say he brings lots of energy and he's good to have, but I'm getting a bit sick of Fred now and seeing Fred start ahead of other players. I know McTominay had an issue, but there's other players we can stick in there. And like Ray, you always came with the point then that Fred isn't a native CDM, that Ollie's training him in. It's been too long. Your training session's over. You didn't make it. Start training Van de Beek to do that because Van de Beek can tackle.
Maybe the defence is looking after the midfield. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe that's the talk in the dressing room. Who knows? But I know what you're saying about the lazy little leg out. That sort of, as a player, thinking in the back of my mind, what if he doesn't shoot? Am I ready to go after him? Not fully committing and putting your body on the line just in case you get made a fool of. Like, that's the sort of vibe.
Yeah. You're not making an excuse for him there, eh?
Not really, Rory, but where's all the praises when Fred has a good game? Like, you know what I mean? We have to give it, when he plays well. And I know, everyone jumps on the boys there, McTominay and Fred, because we want to be pointing fingers, we want to be pointing fingers and where's the problems coming from? But I thought that was a whole approach. I thought I thought today it was most of the players around him. It was the left back and the right back that annoyed me today. Honestly, that's what it was. It was the left back.
Talking about the right back, Wan-Bissaka, today's performance. Now, don't get me wrong. Look, great defensively and all, but today's performance proved that we need someone that can come in and play at right back. That's going to attack a little bit more. There was times there where Wan-Bissaka, could have ran forward with the ball. His first touch let him down. There was a chance near the, not a chance, but there was a segment near the end of the game where he tried to play the ball down the line to Sancho, like I knocked it out of play and everything. Like, do you know what I mean? Or there's a couple of times where someone's laying it off to him and he tries to run onto it and he can't sort his feet out and all. So I think for me, we need a right back in there that's going to be able to open the game up from that position when we are chasing the game.
I kind of got that feeling when Sancho came on that it was like almost a flick of a switch for Wan-Bissaka to get forward and try and dig out, Sancho, or pull players away from him. And he tried to do it a few times, but the ball sort of got caught under his feet a lot. Or when he was sort of midfield trying to play a ball back into the midfield, he gave it away, a square ball, and they were in on us. It was a lot of that. Just to go back to your Fred point, Rory, I hope that one day we can play with that one central defensive midfielder, and I hope he's a player like all around, someone like Verratti or someone that we don't even know of that can come in there and show us, but it doesn't look like it's happening.
Like, yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't look like anything's happening. Do you think maybe that they do realise that there's still an issue there, or do you think?
I just think remember what we were saying last year, where we were saying, they're not out and out central defensive midfielders all their life, so they play that position all their life. So they're waiting, I think, this season to see if there's an opportunity in the transfer market that's you can't deny it, then they'll take it. But if there's not, and there's they're getting pulled around for extra cash, they won't go near it. I don't think. I think they'll wait and see how it plays out, because everyone hopes that McTominay will pull through and become the player that everyone wants him to be. That sort of leader and passion all over the pitch and break players up and get on the ball. And I think, man, I think that McTominay could do that. I think McTominay could do that in long term.
I think I could see it today when he came on. He did have a bit more passion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think if you look at it, like, he's fit. He's one of the fittest on the team. He can pass the ball on a good day. He can pass the ball forward. We're only going to get better at that with more practice. You just have to, suppose, learn the game of someone, of Carrick, or someone that, learn every day and see what it takes to play that role. Like, even give me a call, mate. You know what I mean?
You know.
Yeah.
But Glen, I'll come to you on the United goal then, and we saw Pogba getting 5th assist in 2 games, which is a record for the opening of the Premier League. So walk me through the goal, Glen, and tell me what you thought of it.
Pogba was another great performance by Pogba today, actually. You know what I mean? Out of everyone today, he gave it all, I think. You know what I mean? Just the way he wriggled in and out, and just the way he got that touch across to Greenwood, who hit it. It probably wasn't the cleanest strike, you know what I mean? Went under McCarthy's legs, but Pogba was just immense today, you know what I mean? So credit where credit is due. And then, you look at what Pogba did there a few minutes later, where he wriggled his way through again and just knocked the shot wide, like. But yeah, it was something that I don't think we deserved to lose the game today by any stretch of the imagination. But I think when you're not starting players in their best positions, you're in trouble, I think, from the beginning. Like, and we didn't do that today, you know what I mean? But yeah, we'll see what happens. Like,
that's a good comment there by Fran. Grealish and Royce were all his first choice. He got Van der Beek, doesn't think much of him. Only conclusion I can come to. I'm with that one. I think that's the truth there. I think he wanted them players. He couldn't get them. Royce is mad money. And again, an opportunity came about Van der Beek, and he took it, and he's not ready. It'd be great to see Van der Beek in there.
Yeah, but if he's not ready, look, I don't think
he's not ready now, Glen. He's never going to be ready.
That's what I'm saying. He's had a full season. Obviously, he didn't play as much as you would have liked it and all, but look, you need to be shown a little bit of faith. I suppose, like, when a new season starts, you want the slate to be clean for everybody. Do you know what I mean? And look, you look back to last week with Bruno and Pogba doing what they did to Leeds was unbelievable. You're probably looking at Van der Beek on the bench and he's probably thinking, fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? What an opening. Like, what do we have to do to get to that level? Or am we ever going to get a game, really? Do you know what I mean? Ahead of them two. And you'd have to say if them two are fit, probably not. But, I mean, today would have been a perfect game to throw him in. He started at St. Mary's last year, Ray. You know what I mean? I thought he had one of his better games last season. So I don't know what the problem was with putting him in. Like, I can't understand why he put Matic in ahead of him. I really don't. Do you know what I mean? I'm not digging Matic out on him, but Matic is past his best. You know what I mean? I think he was past his best last season. So this season, it didn't make any sense. So I think for Van der Beek, really, I don't think he's going to get into the team. He's not going to get into the team today ahead of Matic. That he won't.
Remember that thing we were talking about where managers, they start, believing their own hype and trying to be, complicating the game. I think that's what it was today. I think they focused a little bit too much on the set piece threat from Ward-Prowse into the big centre backs, and you could feel that because every time Ward-Prowse was on the ball, there was players around him, United players trying to disrupt it or push the ball forward a little bit, or because they felt the threat of that ball, or they were trying to prolong the ball coming in as much as possible. I think that's why he was in there, Matic. I couldn't explain, like yourself, why in any way.
That makes loads of sense, but at the same time, we're United, we're Manchester United here. You know what I mean? We shouldn't go into these games saying, yeah, look, you give us what you have, and we'll give you what we have, and see who comes out on top. We have the quality in that team to beat Southampton 10 times over. I know there's been a bogey team for us in the last, since I can remember, do you know what I mean? But still, we have enough quality there to go and whack them, and we didn't do it today. We were real conservative.
I don't like when managers do that, Glen, when they have a proper squad now at the moment, and they start playing players like, second string players in there just to get the right balance, and start with your first team all the time. Start with Sancho on the right, let him move over to the left.
There's Mick Glen there talking, he's saying, look, 4-3-3 for these games. I couldn't agree more. Do you know what I mean? Like, let them focus on our threats, because I guarantee you, if we had played a 4-3-3 system then, I think Sancho probably could have been out on the right with Greenwood down the middle. Do you know what I mean? Like, Pogba coming out maybe that left-hand side, or maybe just sitting there beside Bruno or whatever. They would have been worried. Do you know what I mean? I think when you're Southampton and you see that team sheet coming in and you see them two holding midfielders, you're looking at the likes of Armstrong, who you said watch out for him because he's loads of pace there in the chat there earlier on and everything. And Evans are looking and saying to themselves, they're afraid of us. So if we can't get Ward-Prowse on the ball, like, there's options for us to get at them here. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it was a mad game, man. You had
after the first goal for United 1-1, you could see we were pushing, boys, and you could feel another goal coming, but there was no movement. It was static. It was lazy, just outside the box, passing it from one side to the other. Like, I know Southampton were doing good to pull back, but there was no.
They couldn't get out at that stage, Rory. Yeah, all the momentum was where
no urgency, and we've seen that last year. And I think if we have another year where we keep conceding goals and we have to fight our way back into the game, that's gonna cause the fatigue. And then if we don't see Ollie having the balls to make these substitutions, or players' confidence are down because they're not getting any game time, but we're in the same position we were in last year, except we're in trouble because Chelsea, Liverpool, not Arsenal, but Man City are gonna fucking crush us.
Yeah, but Roddy, do you know what it is? You're looking at it opening 6 fixtures, right? And look, the old cliches, there's no easy game in the Premier League and all that jazz, right? That's fair enough, but you won't get a set of better opening games than we have out of the top 4 clubs, you might as well say. Do you know what I mean? I was saying to Ray a while ago, I'd look at the first opening 6 fixtures and I'd be thinking we should probably have about 16 out of 18 points from them games. If you're serious about challenging for the league, and I know it's only early, but the last couple of seasons we've seen it with Liverpool and Man City and all, that the early part of the season is really important. So now we're down them 2 points already with 4 games still to go before we start playing the likes of Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool and all that. You know what I mean? So these are games that you have to be going to try and win. And I don't want to doubt that we didn't want to go and win it, but there was just, as I said, that conservative approach, which I thought that we were going to get rid of, you know what I mean, with the signings that we brought in. Obviously, Ollie had other ideas and he has his reasons behind it. I think he said something about a fitness issue and all at his post-match interview. So, I don't know, you know what I mean? But we have to do better than that, because Wolves next week, it won't be an easy game away. Like, definitely not.
We have a quote here from Ollie here. So he just says we should have scored. We should have scored a few, but when they scored, we lost our heads a little bit. After half time, I thought it was good again until we scored. Then, for another 5 minutes, we played some decent football, and in the last 15, 20 minutes, we lost our momentum, lost our shape, got sloppy. Maybe it's a fitness issue, maybe it's other things. Glen, I don't like that. Maybe this and maybe that. He's the manager. He should know exactly.
You know what he's doing there, Rory? He's beating around the bush.
He's beating around the bush. We don't do that around here, Ray. We do not do that.
You know, could say it how it is. You made changes. You took your most player on form and you put him into the midfield, and you brought Lingard on. You know what I mean?
That annoys me there now, boys, because that's an amateur answer. We lost our heads a little bit. What top club loses their heads a little bit, and then their manager admits it after the match? You know what I mean? Like, maybe he's just being too honest. But
didn't lose their head, man. It wasn't. I don't think it was that. It was the wrong approach when we had that momentum for 5-10 minutes. It needed to be fullbacks getting around and putting the ball into the box, just like McTominay putting a ball there, and there was no one in. The ball went going around the front of and no one there. And Bruno was mad, just forcing everything all the time today, forcing everything, getting on the ball, picking up the ball from Pogba and trying to force everything. When it just needed to sort of have a structured build up in our play. It was off the cuff today, man. Again, it was all that off the cuff stuff. Apart from that Pogba moment, a bit of magic, could have went into the bottom corner. That's what Ollie felt like today, was banking on. Oh, Bruno will do it for me here. Fantastic.
Yeah. Bruno. That's a very good impression there, Ray. That's a very good impression.
He's been practicing that, he has. Definitely.
Make a TikTok. So, like, before we go on, Fran just has a question here. Do you think we're going to stick with this formation for the season?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Because I just can't see Ollie turning around saying, let's change it now to a 4-3-3 and go all out attacking. I don't think he knows how to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd be probably thinking maybe if you went to 3 at the back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 3-5-2 or something like that, maybe. You know what I mean? Or a 3-4-3, somewhere along them lines. But I can't see us going 4-3-3. Because Ollie obviously likes them two holding midfielders. Because why else would he be playing them? You know what I mean? It's a new season, as I said, clean slate. There was talk before the season started that he was going to be going around or changing it to 4-3-3. At the time when I heard that, I didn't like that coming out. Because I was thinking to myself, why should that be coming out now, letting teams know what way we are going to be playing or whatever? Do you know what I mean? But we're 2 games in already, and there's been no change to the system, so I can't say. I'd like to say it, but I don't say it at the end of the day. I think he's a little bit stubborn on that.
I hope that we find our best back form, and I hope that not all through the season. I don't want to be hearing this Lindelof, or who's playing today. Is it Lindelof? Is it Varane? Yeah. Just get the right players in. I have a feeling that he's not going to have the bottle to leave Lindelof out. So that's why it points, for me anyway, it points to, like you were saying, Glen, 3 at the back, and then just, get everyone into the midfield and chop and change up top then, because you've 3, you have Sancho, Rashford and Cavani up there, and maybe Martial and Pogba battling for them spots off the bench. I see Pogba playing a good bit off the bench sometimes, just to keep security. I'd love for us to get to that stage where you have Varane in there beside Maguire, one central defensive midfielder that can push the whole team then forward, and let the likes of Sancho and bring them assists that he's racking up in the Bundesliga. Bring some of them in.
Right. I know what you're saying there. I think I disagree with you in that he won't put Varane in. I think he doesn't have a choice to put Varane in. The way he revealed him and the amount of money he's cost and the way the fans kind of,
he doesn't know what to do with him, man. That's the thing. It's like he doesn't know what to do with these players. That's the impression I'm getting at the moment. Like, it's been hand Varane, it's been hand Sancho, and it's like he doesn't know what to do with them. Like, I get why Varane mightn't have started. Maybe he's not up, to 100% match fitness or anything, but Sancho definitely should have started today, you know what I mean? And he didn't. Do you know what I mean? He
Yeah.
opted to go from, you could call it the old guard if you wanted, with the likes of Martial coming into that position. Shouldn't have happened, but Sancho should have definitely started today. And can I just say something? I know Mick is saying there that we beat Wolves handy last season with a makeshift team, and Van der Beek was excellent that game. Totally agree. The reason why I said the Wolves would be a difficult game is because the fans are back in. And I think last season, it was the last game of the season, Nuno was at the announcement that he was going to be leaving. And I think Wolves just ran out a little bit of steam, you know what I mean? And as I was saying, I keep saying this clean slate. Wolves would be itching to play a game like that, you know what I mean, against us. Like, not because it's, you know, I don't want to say that they don't think they can beat us, they do think they'll beat us, just because it's us coming to Molyneux and all. The crowd will be behind them, like, from start to finish. The same way Southampton's were today, you know what I mean? And the fans do make a difference, you know what I mean? And that's where we're going to have to get a little bit better. We're going to have to remember, like, yeah, we're going to come under pressure on the pitch and off the pitch, you know what I mean, in hostile environments, like. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, boys, I want to move on for the match for the moment. We can't come back to it later. We just want to talk about Denise Law's dementia, which has been announced, and it's been addressed by Man City and Man United. So there's a few players now from that generation who are suffering from dementia, and it's kind of being recognised that the sport does cause dementia in later life. And we can see now, like in the youth clubs, that kids can't heady balls, or like that kind of taking that out of it. So, Glenn, I know you know a bit on this, so I just want to get your opinion. Maybe just give us a bit more insight if you have it there.
No, look, Rory, I don't really know much about it, to be honest with you.
Glenn, you're a wise owl, man. Tell us what you know.
It's a sad situation when you have a player of the calibre of Denise Law, someone that loves the club as much as he does, you know, come down with something like this. And he's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's and vascular dementia, you know what I mean? So it's not the news you want to hear, but there's definitely something to deal with the way football was probably played in, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever. Obviously, you know, there's that talk about the ball, the weight of the ball, maybe, you know, what it was made from, like, you know, heading that leather football when it was, you know, soaking wet out. But the statistic that stuck out to me was that you're looking at the 1968 European Cup winning team for United, and 6 of that team have now come down with dementia. You know, Nobby Stiles, who passed away, Bill Folks, you're looking at Sir Bobby Charlton, David Heard, players like that. So, you know, that alone will tell you that there is an issue. I don't want to say too much in case people are thinking that, you know, that don't agree with me, because, like, fortunately for me, I no one close to me has been affected by that disease. I did work in a care home with people that had dementia. It's not a nice disease, you know, illness or disease, whatever you want to look at it, to look at, especially the family members. I think, you know, they're talking about heading out of the game, or, you know, heading out of the grassroots game or whatever. I'd love to just see what way it works out. Like, was it just the football of those days, like the actual football from heading, that type of football that's, you know, bringing players down with this, or, you know what I mean, is there a difference between both footballs, is what I'm trying to say. Like, do you know what I mean? It'd be interesting to see. I don't know how you find that out with different generations, but it's not good news, do you know what I mean? And, you know, you watch that Sir Alex Ferguson documentary, and there was a real poignant moment in that at the beginning of it, where Alex Ferguson's in the hospital bed and he's there with his son, and he puts his head in his hands, they say, and he's like, please, I better not lose my memory. So it just shows you know what I mean, like, that, how big of a deal it actually is, do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it's sad news all around, really. But I suppose the response that Dennis has got and his family has got from the footballing community as a whole has been excellent. Do you know what I mean? You've sort of seen everyone sort of come together and back him, which is great, because he's an absolute legend of the club. Do you know what I mean? I have his jersey here, signed the 1963 FA Cup final jersey. It has right here, you know, 404 appearances and 237 goals. Where it really should have underneath that is his legend, but it doesn't. But you know what I mean? Like, it's sad news.
Yeah, the first 100 grand player, wasn't he? The first 100 grand, £100,000 player. You're all going mad. I was actually watching a little clip, and it has to be the ball, I think. Like, just before, like, they used to do this drill. He was saying that they used to have the ball on a string, and they, you know, raised up, and you'd run up to the ball, the whole team, and you'd head it, and next week it'd be a 2-inch higher, and so on and so on. Like, so they've been heading the ball a lot. But you ever get down, you're in the schoolyard, you're heading a a Gaelic ball. Do you ever do that?
Yeah, and you can feel it like on your
And you
forehead.
just
Or
feel it straight away, like you just, mate, that's what it probably must have been like. And you think of the game now, it's a lot of ticky-tacky stuff, innit? A lot of on the ground stuff. But back then, I'd say it would have been Route 1 all the way, man, for a long time, you know, and heading was part of the game. So, yeah, it's
I
sad.
think there's a big push from the families, because the families have a hardest, I suppose, because they have to live with this person that they love, who kind of starts to forget everything around them. And I think I read somewhere that it's kind of like you lose them even though they're still there.
Yeah,
So
it's exactly like that, Rory. Yeah,
it is very
exactly like
sad.
that.
But I think we have this quote here from Denise Law. Hopefully this will be a season of success, and I'm excited by the new signings that Ollie and the club have made. I know that the road ahead will be hard, demanding, painful and ever-changing, and so ask for understanding and patience, as this will not be an easy journey, especially for the people who love you the most.
That's nice.
So that's a quote from Dennis Law.
Well, Rory, for me, here
Yeah.
he is in the battle of his life, and you know, there he is talking about United as a club and looking forward to seeing them playing and the new signings and everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just shows you like what the club mean to him, and I hope that going forward that the club look after him health wise and everything. You know what I mean? Because not like some of the footballers in the past weren't gone the wages that the players are on today. Nobby Stiles, as we said, World Cup winner with England in '66, he had to sell his World Cup medal to pay for medical expenses. I read there the other day and all, which is not
rocking, man.
Yeah, it's not nice. You'd be sort of hoping that the club would reach out to the former players and their family members and help them out with stuff like that. So I hope the club and the football community worldwide has learned from that and realised that these are people that need to be looked after, because they've given, I don't say me because I haven't seen them, never seen them play live, unfortunately, but they've given, their bodies for our entertainment, really, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was talking to an older person from the job, and he was just saying the time when Manchester United had to come over here and play because of the bad weather in England and stuff. They just couldn't get enough of Dennis Law, and he was a sort of real force showman and stuff, pointing at the crowd and putting his fingers up and all. So it's sad, but hopefully all works out.
And the lads agree with us there, Mick and Fran, saying it's the ball, and Mick remembers just like you, right, hitting that mitre ball. Jeez, remember getting that thing in the wind on a winter's day.
You'd be playing guard or something in the little shorts and all, and you'd be messing with your mates saying, "Go on, hit that up there and I'll hit you," and you'd be paying the price, man, the whole day after.
Oh, big time.
Yes.
But lads, I'm going to move on from that one, and we want to talk now a bit about the Glazers. So, Glen, you saw some stuff online about, the fans still aren't happy with the Glazers. I suppose we can see that they're doing a lot. They brought in players, and maybe they've done a bit to the stadium as well, or they're planning to. But the case is, people still want the Glazers out. So, Glen, what's your personal opinion on the Glazers? Has it changed?
No, I don't think it'll ever change, Rory. I think too much water has passed under that bridge. Look, don't get me wrong, like, they did bring in signings this summer. They've painted up the stadium. They've done up the dressing rooms as well this season. There's talk of them, doing up the training ground and all that sort of stuff, which is great to hear. You want to see the club expand and stuff like that all the time and keep them up to date. But I mean, I think the statistic is 92% of fans want them out. That, I mean, for like, how do you make that fall? That'd have to be a really dramatic fall, do you know what I mean, for people to turn around and assume that, or say, yeah, look, we back the Glazers now, you know what I mean? If it is to happen, it's going to happen slowly and over a number of years. See, there you go, this fan there, Glazers out. I mean, a lifelong United fan saying it out straight. That's nothing's ever going to change people's minds, like. Do you know what I mean? And my fear is that, they'll see that this is something that, we're doing this up, we're doing the dressing rooms up, we're painting the stadium and all, but then they just stop that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's just a thing of, let's keep them happy for a while and then just drop off again. You know what I mean? You can see that it doesn't really work like that. And what's come out of everything that happened last season is that, the club is, means a lot to so many people around the world. Like, so, no, it's never going to change. I'd still like to see them out because, they just don't have that love that we do, or that people around the world do for the club. So no, I wasn't surprised when I read online that it was 92% or something along that lines. 90 to 92% of fans still want them out. I mean, so
Ray, how do you feel about it?
Look, 92 at the moment. I'd say down the line, years down the line, if things are going well for us and we're back to winning ways, I'd see that number going down, honestly, because all that people want, people like Fan and all won't forget. I know they won't. But all we want on the pitch is just get the right players in. Don't hesitate. Don't question football when you know nothing about it. Stay in your lane and look after the financials and put the right football people in alongside the managers, so that there's the link there. And fill the pitch up with players, the Man United players. That's all I ask for. We're going into that direction. I'm Glazers out. Will always be Glazers out. I don't agree with the way they run the club. I look at the stadium now. It's not the stadium it used to be, man. You see Old Trafford back in the day and you're mesmerised. You're looking around now and there's other teams building massive stadiums and, revamping their stadiums immediately, not messing around with painting one part of it 1 year and then, there's going to come a time now where you can put this stadium, the Old Trafford, the Theatre of Dreams beside Tottenham Stadium, and it's going to be flimsy. That thing is it's going to come to a stage where they need to, proper invest in the stadium, and then we'll see.
The roof is still leaking and all. I think you'll see in the summer, in the winter, like when you're looking at them games or Old Trafford when it's raining and all. It's not a good look if the roof is leaking or anything. But
and you can't fix it during the season, so it's going to be next season. They're going to divert the attention away from that, but maybe bringing in a player or some sort of stuff they do, PR spins that they're full of, and they don't care, man. They're pumping the passion. The passion is with whatever they're running in America. They're talking about being kids and wishing for that moment whenever that team won the talking about your man, what's his name? That won everything. What's that quarterback's name they brought in?
Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady, you know what I mean? That's what you want at the club. You need someone that knows the English game like that and knows what Manchester United mean. And for us to see them emotions when they're talking about the club, that's all you want. It's not there and probably never be there.
Well, look, what I was saying you'll only see what the commitment level is like in the next couple of years. You know what I mean? You're not going to get that percentage to come down this season or next season or the season after. You know what I mean? It'll be a gradual process. But I just think to myself and I say, do they have that in them to do that for the next, say, 5, 6, 7 seasons? You know what I mean? No, they don't. Like, this is just to make us forget about everything that's happened over the last 16, 17 years. You know what I mean? And the fact that they were trying to erase the club's history by joining that Super League and all the in April, just gone. So, no, it won't change. Glazers out. You know what I mean? Green and gold till we're sold. All that sort of stuff still.
Because what I'm happy with is that we know now that the fans have a say and can immediately turn the situation upside down if they want. We've seen it. What the fans that love the club are capable of doing. So they know that as well. Don't get me wrong. They know that, and I think they're worried about that. So they're going to be on their toes to keep things sweet. And that's the main thing.
Look at that. Only fans of Newcastle and Arsenal are more unhappy with their owners than we are at the moment. Like, you know what I mean? And that's telling. I mean, you look at what's going on at Arsenal. They're in dire straits. You know what I mean? They're going to be nowhere near to come the end of the season. We all knew that before the season started.
Shocking, isn't it, Glen?
And you look at Newcastle as well. Like, they've been on the decline for years. Your man Mike Ashley's there. He doesn't want to put on into the club. I was talking to someone last night. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Richard or something that said to me last night that apparently, the sheiks that have Man City were like in for Newcastle and Mike actually put the price up by an extra couple of million or something, and they just took away the money and went and bought Man City. Like, do you know what I mean? So you can like these where we are compared to other clubs like that. You know what I mean? Like it's mad.
Yeah, lads, that's the current situation actually, and just by the looks of it, doesn't seem like it's going to change. Now, what I was thinking there is just what I was thinking what we need in our team is a bit of speed, and the player that's going to give it to us is Wan-Bissaka in his car. Did you see that, boys? So Wan-Bissaka now
up to, like, surely you can pay someone to drive you around. You know, that's fearless, man.
No, not good enough. It's the second time he's been caught as well. Like, I was saying there the other day, I was thinking, he's only young, but it's the second time he's been caught doing that. You know what I mean? Like, what is happening behind the scenes? Why doesn't, I hope Ollie's eating him alive. I go as far as saying that if that was under Fergie, I don't think Wan-Bissaka would have started today. I really don't. Do you know what I mean? You don't need that at the beginning of a new campaign, a player being caught driving without insurance and all, you know what I mean? Because when you're being caught, because you play for a high profile club, it's going to impact you and the club in some way. You know what I mean? So it's bad form from him. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping Harry Maguire got into him as well. You know, that way on their own.
I think you're right. That says a lot, because I suppose when Greenwood got into trouble, there was some repercussions for him. So maybe it is that Ollie needs to enforce that it's like your attitude off the pitch affects your attitude on the pitch. And if you're going to be going around dilly-dallying, flip-flopping around, driving around your car when you shouldn't be, you're not getting your game for this club, and that's going to affect your career. Because I'm sure that to avoid him getting charged or going to prison, United are going to have to pull off loads of stops.
Yeah.
You know what
I mean? Look at it there, like, today Wan-Bissaka started, and as I was saying earlier, I don't think that was the game for him when we're pushing on or pushing forward. I don't think he's the player that's going to be whipping in them balls. There's Dallo, like, you know what I mean? Looks like he's going to be with us at least for this season anyway, or at least until January even. Why not stick him on? You know what I mean? Like, he's an attacking right back. He can whip in a ball or two. Do you know what I mean?
Southampton right back, man. He was quality today. Jeez, I'd like to see him at some stage. What? The players were bouncing off him.
Yeah, they were. The frustrating thing about this today is that you see Southampton being annihilated.
That was Fred, Rory. Fred actually tried to tackle him.
Listen, I have an issue with Fred. Glen has an issue with Pogba, but when Pogba plays well, Glen calls it out. He calls it out that he doesn't play well. And when Fred has a good game, I will call it out. We got a goal there last week. We did say maybe the keeper should have done better, but a goal is a goal. We'll take it. Now, we'll jump into the fantasy football, boys. This is the weekly thing we're doing now. And let's see who's the leaderboard.
Wonderful run from Giggs! Sensational goal from Ryan Giggs in the second period of extra time.
That just gives me chills, that does, and I'm going to hear that. You know what I mean? It just does. You know what I mean? Well, come on. Who's winning? Just get straight to it, Rory. Who's winning the fantasy?
I'm putting a bit of anticipation. So we have this Devil's Bit Fantasy Football League. This is our first week, actually. We missed the first one. So here we go.
That's some of the people in the comments to join in, actually, man. That'd be...
Yeah, if anyone's on fantasy football, give us a shout and we'll throw you into the league here. So in third place... You
can only be short, though. You can only be short.
Winning, like, you know what I mean? That's what...
So the points went up and down, boys, and obviously, is there still a game to be played? Is that on now?
West Ham and Leicester tomorrow. I have three them players in my team.
Yeah, we'll see. Relax. So it's close, boys. It is close. So I'm there on third place with 29 points. Glen is in second place with 33 points, and Ray's flying it in front with 37 points.
50, mate, 50.
But Ray, you still have Vardy and Tielemans in there, so you know what I mean. And Glen has who's coming in for Glen?
Glen has Kane,
Vestergaard, Madison.
I had Son, man. I had Son as well, and I transferred Son. I think and I got another few.
Kane out of the team. I took Kane out of the team because I knew
I told you to do that.
Would come on the way he did. Come out of the team.
Sure, he played Glen. He didn't do anything.
He
No,
played
I know he
today.
came on, but I mean, I couldn't back on that. I had Danny Ings and I have Calvert-Lewin. Both of them scored there. Do you know what I mean? And when Kane does come in, whether he goes to City or not, or whether he stays at Spurs, he will come good again. And when he does, my points will ramp up.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Then you're due a point from Two and Xavier as well because Rose right back didn't start.
All right.
Yeah, for Watford. So, yeah, Glenn, you've three players coming in with points. I have 2 players coming in with points, and Ray has 3 or 2. So it's going to be tight for the top, I have to say now. Now, you 2 boys are new with it. I'm a seasoned veteran, so I know that the first few games.
I don't really know what I'm doing, honestly. I don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest with you. But just winging it, going along, having a bit of a laugh with this. It's I'm checking all the time, though. Don't get me wrong now.
Having a bit of a laugh. The minute you went top there yesterday, you were throwing in blade. Let's put all this.
No, yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
It's killing you.
Boys, it's a bit of crack.
Only early days. But, I have to get Lukaku in there because he's going to be bleeding.
Yeah, he's going to smash it now.
We'll
put him in before Kane.
We seen the first half of the game there with him today, and he looked. No, I know it's only Arsenal, so it's a good game to make him look good back in the Premier League. You know what I mean? But Jesus Christ, he was mauling the Arsenal back in there. The first half he was. You know what I mean? So
he just showed levels to the game, and he's had to improve on so much. It's mad what confidence can do, isn't it? Confidence can really turn you like into almost world class. I just thought the way he was creating the space for the ball to come through from Jorginho and then pinning his centre back and having the ability to roll the ball at the tip of his toe into the almost a 6-yard box. He wanted to bring every ball into the 6-yard box, and he's good in the air. Yeah, he's going to be quality.
Is it the end for Arteta? Is it?
Look at the Arsenal team, man, and I feel like it's where we were when we made some bad investments. Like
we were never down there, Ray, bro. Never down there. When I mean, there.
But you know,
they've Ben White there that they brought.
They've no dignity, like they've no DNA, man. There's nothing that represents Arsenal in that team. It's mad. Aubameyang's coming off the bench and all. He's on 400 grand. It's a long way back, boys.
They're at a stage now where if they don't start getting their act together, they could be left behind for a long time. You know what I mean? Look at what are they bottom? Second from bottom. I know it's only 2 games in, but you know that stays like that for a while. They're in a dogfight. Now, in fairness to them, the first half, I actually thought that they were taking the game to Chelsea. I thought Smith Rowe was doing very well. Do you know what I mean? But the thing is that anytime Chelsea looked like they wanted to just gear up, they scored in that first half. Do you know what I mean? I thought James's goal was nice. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, look, I don't say too much about them, but I think it's time for Arteta to go anyway.
Yeah, you know, we were still looking the business on the line and all, and getting involved and all. So you know, I think whatever
doesn't matter if you lose 2-0, like.
No, but like I think he feels like he's safe. You know, I think the people behind him feel like.
Them fans are on the medal. Arsenal fans are on the medal here. They're on a medal. It's mad. So I mean, they be out from him now. I'd be surprised if he's there come October. I would be. The pressure was on straight away this season, and nothing's changed to help him. No, you cannot lose to Brentford, especially now. They Man City next week.
Yeah, it's over, isn't it? It's over for.
And lads, what do you think about Brentford newcomers?
I haven't seen them actually. No, I didn't see.
Going to the stadium is going to be tough for everybody, especially the top teams. They look like they're up for it. The squad depth might be what catches them out. You know what I mean? Like they get an injury or two, and you know what I mean.
And then you look at City and all, though, you know, and they find a way to beat these teams. That's why there's still a gap between us and the likes of City and Liverpool, man. They find a way. They pass the ball across the box in the 6-yard, and that happens.
Yeah.
Because it's structural. It comes off. It comes from Pep. That's the difference, I think, you know. It comes from Pep, and he's like, these are the areas where I think when we go out, it's like, try and get Bruno on the turn outside the box. Try and get the turn outside the box and work from there. And if we can't do anything towards goal, push it back out to Sancho or Rashford.
I think Cavani makes a different dimension to that. He can operate in the box quite well. I think when say McTominay's crossing today, like if Cavani was on the pitch, he would have been around the box.
Definitely, man. He would have been right there for it.
In the box.
That was so important.
Yeah. But lads, listen, fantasy football, I think it's going to kick off. You'll see in the next few weeks who starts. I think someone will start pulling away. So we know you're checking it every day, but you will be, I'm telling you, even when there's no match on. But lads, we'll leave it at that this week. Thanks everyone for watching. Mick, Fran, thanks for all the comments. Great chatting to you, even if it's true comments.
Lads.
Class, and we'll be back next Sunday. You can find us on Twitter, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram. You can listen to the podcast on YouTube. You can listen to it on Spotify, Podbean, and Google Podcasts. So, lads, we'll leave it there. I'll chat to you next week. So,
See you later,